Don't think you're ready from me. Don't think you're ready from me. Don't think you're ready from me.
Hey everyone, it's Perseus of Argos. So this is going to be more of the cappuccino edition, meaning small size. You guys know what cappuccino is compared to our a regular edition where I have my panel of three very bright and insightful individuals, but they can't make it for this edition yet. So I just wanted to more of a small PSA edition, just so to tie us over to, I believe, the following week, the week after, when the crew will be back in the cafe to roast some quality beans that they find on the interwebs and on X. So I think I'm going to admit I've been a little bit becoming codependent on my my co-host, because I'm looking back at all the recordings that we've done. I really I think I'm starting to enjoy my role as the person who asks the questions, and they are the ones who serve their insight. And and then the other thing I really enjoy about these recordings is that I don't think that you will get the kind of questions that we would ask anywhere else. And it seems that these days people are either totally, fanboying, total fans of MAGA, and they won't think of uh, asking questions or being critical if the America First agenda is not on track or is on track, or they are total TDS. So I like to think that here in NDR, we are neither. We are true to what we say we are as independent thinkers. So not sure if I could. This isn't going to be a full hour, obviously, and I'm going to showcase a couple of posts on X that were shared with me from a few friends, and they caught my attention, and I thought I would feature one since I've titled this stream, "What is what's going on with Musk and MAGA?" And we have a poster from John E. And let's see, share this. So he kind of sums up, or he attempts to sums up what what's going on with Elon Musk and MAGA. So Elon Musk really did a speed run through the Republican experience. So number one is euphoric victory, grand sweeping plans. Number three, complete governance incompetence. And then 4, political disillusionment. So, we don't really know what's going on, like why the official word is that he wants to focus on his business. But I think between the Pam Bondi Cash Patel, kind of dragging their feet on prosecuting the people who are behind these Tesla vandalism, and how the Doge cuts are not fully cemented in legislation. And I suspect that he's also running into people that he just in Trump's inner circle that he just can't work with, uh, can't deal with. Uh, this is reminiscent of my experience when I started getting involved over 10 years ago with the GOP. Uh, like a lot of independents, the first place you want to check out is you know the the party, right? Like where else would you go? I mean, but that back then I was checking out the Libertarian Party too, but I just decided, okay, let me just go with the bigger fish in the pond, which was the GOP, and that was pretty much my experience from one to four. Wait, let me see if I can get this, make this bigger. Uh, there, if you could see it. Yeah. So, well, I didn't have not really so much one euphoric victory. It was really starting out with number two, grand sweeping plans, and the thing with me though, I had my definition and idea of what republicanism in, which is more in line with what the founding fathers were talking about. The classical republicanism, and I always have this book with me. If you want to add something to your reading list, I recommend this. This is by Colleen A. Sheehan, and it's a collection of writings and short notes and letters between Madison and Jefferson, in which he was outlining his study, um, his survey and study of different types of form of government and republicanism, and how that could work for uh, the newly founded nation. So this is I think a much easier read than the Federalist Papers and other essays, in my opinion. So my idea of republicanism, classical republicanism, and that's where I got the word classical liberal from. Also, it's from this book. Was Did not coincide with the definition of republicanism, with the people that I ran into in the GOP. So that was number two. So for me, there was no number one. I just landed at number two. I had some grand sweeping plans, thinking that back in 2010, when I was involved in the Tea Party movement, that this was uh, a political party and a platform that I could join that would uh, that their ideas and their principles and their values coincide with something along the lines of this. I've learned very quickly that that's not the case, um, which lands on number three, complete governing incompetence. That's still happening today. And then political disillusionment. I know a lot of people who were on that track, that went from number two to number four. And what happens when they go to number four, political disillusionment? That they check out of politics completely. They'll call themselves independent, or they would join some other third parties like Libertarian Party. But for my part, I had the number four experience, political disillusionment. But then I guess it's just who I am. I went to a number five. Number five was okay. If this does not work out for you, go and start your own thing, right? And I thought that was also a very American thing to do, right? If you think you can do something better by yourself, then go create a brand or an association and see if there's a market and audience for it, rather than settle on number four, political disillusionment, and check out of politics uh, completely. So I set about doing number five, which is create your own association and see if there's a market for it. And the entirety of Indie, which is short for Independent Republican, again, sorry to sound like a broken record, is this is taken entirely um, from this book. Everything that I've read, sorry, I sound like this is today's an infomercial for this book. Like I said, this is a great read, and for the amount of pages, you really learn a lot. I mean, he also James Madison was such an amazing scholar of antiquity too, of classical history. He did a survey going back to ancient Greece, and also he critiqued a lot about his contemporaries. Then in people are not aware of this, but in the 1700s and up to the early 1800s, there were a lot of different forms of government in Europe too. It wasn't just monarchies. There were something that was the uh, the proto equivalent of what we would call federalism now, like in Switzerland. Uh, back then in the 1700s, there was something called the Swiss canton. So, and then in the Netherlands, there was the Dutch Republic. So again, they don't teach things like that in history in school anymore. But America is not the first country to experiment with a republican form of government, right? Of course, we know the Romans over 2,000 years ago were the first to do that. But then that form of government came back in different variations throughout European history. So by the time when the founding fathers were around in Europe, we had the Dutch Republic, and then we had the Swiss canton. So so James Madison was this did extensive survey and built a blueprint based on a comparative blueprint on his contemporaries. Besides having studied um, ancient Greece and Rome. So sorry, where am I going with this? So that's number five. If I could add to this post, Elon Musk. Um, I didn't check out at number four. I did number five. And how is it going so far? 15 years later, and is there a market for NDR? Well, I'm gonna say there is. Um, Judging from the number of people we have in our in-person association, it's small by comparison, but you know I very often it's also easy for me to go back to number four and number three here on the list. Complete governance incompetence and more like political disillusionment. And what is the political disillusionment? Is the realization that um, even for the people who say they're independent, um, they really haven't. I like to say, got the memo of their got the memo of their ownership, they're constitutionally um, their constitutional role and constitutionally mandated ownership of their public institutions. Um, so so anyway, yeah. Sorry again for turning this into infomercial. Please check this out. Put in your reading list. It's an easy read. It's a good read, and you'll get to know more than many so-called constitutional scholars today. Speaking of constitutional scholars and lawyers, there's been this trend with the other side of the Democrat Party using lawfare and these are they circuit judge courts or federal judges to um, stop um, a couple of Trump's executive orders, right? I mean, if you were to give a quiz, ask these judges to take a quiz on basic constitutionalism and civic, I think we would all be shocked that they probably can't quote chapter and verse either. Um, on the how check and balance work in this country. You can't the check and balance of the executive branch is the legislative branch at the federal level and the Supreme Court. You can't like you have a judge on the local and county level and the state level um, be the check and balance against the executive branch. So what am I saying? I think this is going back to number 3 about complete governing incompetence and why do we have complete governing incompetence? Because we have um, I think the leap. I think how you get from number 2 to number 3, grand sweeping plans and complete governing incompetence. There's probably a step between the two before it leads to governing incompetence, and that's just civic illiteracy. So the people who think they're governing don't think they're incompetent. They think they're on track. Uh, so what's the remedy for that? I'm not sure if there's a remedy for that. If these people are already in power, maybe there is a hope that we create a culture of promoting civic literacy, constitutional civic literacy with the next generation. But how do we go about that? No one's talking enough about that. I like to think that NDR is one of the people who are one of the few places that are talking about that. So, all right. Well, anyway, what else did I want to share? So, I had titled this again, "What MAGA is going to be like without Musk." I don't know. I think the MAGA. I think Musk going back to. He says he just wants to focus on his business. Um, Probably speaks to some vibe shift, and I don't think it's a good vibe shift. It's more like a downshift with MAGA. As I mean, the recent news with Trump's uh, what he's managed to accomplish or not accomplish is starting for me to feel a bit like Trump 1.0 than 2.0. Uh, there are a couple of promises of big promises about how they're going to take down the deep state and a la the people on Epstein list, um, people who meddled with the the elections. They're finding about election frauds. All these rogue DAs, Alvin Bragg. They seem to have fallen out of the not just the news but the political hamster wheel too. I don't hear a lot of people who are, especially from MAGA supporters, bringing uh, those concerns, putting them in view. So, what's going on, MAGA? Are we going back to 1.0 or is this 1.5? It what does 2.0 look like? That's my question. What targets and what milestones can we expect to hit this year for 2.0? Um, we are told that well, okay, I don't want to be a complete downer. S- I guess the open border situation is stabilizing, so that's good. Um, People who shouldn't be here are deported. Um, what's the temperature check and the pulse, the temperature check and the pulse check on the economy? I don't think anyone has a good idea what that is. Um, how's the so-called cultural war going? I don't think anyone has a good idea of what that is. Um, what's the next thing that uh, the America First voters and supporters can look forward to? Um, are we seeing signs of jobs coming back? Um, are the factories being built? I so I've said this in one of our shows before. When you leave too much guesswork, if you leave too much to people's imagination, then the opponents and the adversaries of America First, we're going to come in and fill in that gap for you. So I'm not understanding why, with all the resources and technology at Trump's disposal, or I'm gonna stop saying Trump, because just realistically, you can't expect one person to do everything. So his team, the people he's surrounded himself with, like what are they up to? Are they still operating under this 1.0 mentality, which I feel like they are, um, and they are creating this culture where it's it's not compatible with the new bloods and the new talents that Trump 2.0 brought in. I'm going to say tried to bring in, because I'm not hearing much from them too. Like, okay, where's Tulsi Gabbard these days? Where is um, JFK this day? RFK. Like, where is the other business leaders that he was able to win to his side in big tech? Like, where are all these players? Have they also, um, are they experiencing them before now? Political disillusionment with Musk. So, um, yeah, I want to know. And sorry, I don't have the answers. I have more questions than answers. Um, and also, people who support America First and support MAGA and Trump. What do you have to look forward to this year? What are you involved in locally? Um, what are you doing at the local level to advance America First? What does that mean? Like, sometimes I think we need to stop a moment and do some, like, just remind us of what does America First mean. Um, and right now it just feels everything is very it feels everything kind of feels very dissipated, and everyone is just doesn't know where to look for an answer. I mean, even with the big beautiful, I still don't know what's in it. I'm just getting these uh they sound more like anecdotal highlights than they are specifics. So no one's talking about that. So well, I think I'll just leave it at that. Questions that hopefully my panel of coffee beans, morning coffee beans roasters can answer when we are all fully assembled next time. So in a week or two. So until then, I guess this is where I suggest you follow this channel and follow us on this journey to reclaim our freedom, liberty, and culture of independence. All right. Um, have a great weekend, everyone.